Welcome back to We Talk Culture and good morning to our wonderful listeners. I am your host, Monica Yu, along with the talented Tanisha Cole.
Pleasant morning to all our early birds. Today we have an important discussion with our specially invited guest from law enforcement. So grab that cup of coffee or tea and let's chat.
This is the 10th episode of We Talk Culture. Today's topic, alcoholism as a culture within Guyana. With us in the studio is Mr. Adasafi Felix and Mr. Marlon Azor. They have been working in law enforcement for quite some time and are very much qualified in helping us in today's discussion.
Good morning, Mr. Felix and Mr. Azor, and thank you for joining us today for this podcast.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Well, good morning, Miss Cole. I'm glad to be here to assist you.
In today's society, I'm not sure if you would agree with me, but we see alcohol being that quick fix for many people. I mean, if you go to a party or a club and you need that extra boost just to enjoy yourself, you grab your favorite beer, if that's your thing.
Well, I know drinking is a part of socializing for most people because that is how we have fun.
Exactly. So this question is directed to both of you. When does this fun drinking stage turn into something dangerous? I know in your time working in the force, you may have come across many drunk drivers or highly intoxicated, abusive spouses or even parents.
This stage turns into something dangerous when you've gone over your limit as to having blurry visions and you're not thinking straight. When someone is intoxicated, they don't see and think properly, and that is a hazard to the roadway for one and also to persons around them because being intoxicated to a limit whereby you have no control of yourself affects people around you and yourself.
Well, based on my experience, if it turns dangerous when a person does not know their limit and consume a lot of alcohol, but still thinking that they can control themselves or control a vehicle, control a firearm or whatever, well, it become dangerous then because they won't be able to function at their normal capacity and they put the life of themselves and others in danger.
Okay, so I have another question. Do you believe that alcoholism can be a culture? Like, for example, growing up seeing everyone around you drinking. Like, do you think you are prone or more likely to start drinking just because everyone is doing it?
Well, it could be considered a culture in some areas because as a youngster you're given a bottle of beer on your or any other alcoholic beverage and you're being told, hey, you're a man now, you gotta drink this beer. Now you associate being a man with drinking a beer. So that could be the start of it, and then again it could be that you're with your friends and so on. Everybody's drinking. You don't want to be left out, so you start drinking. But at the end of the day, I still believe that everybody has a mind of their own, and they can think and know what's for them and what's not for them.
For me, I wouldn't say it's a culture, but drinking is a choice. Just like oh, smoking and doing bad is a choice. Remember, you as an adult were given the right to choose. Now, if you know that you cannot handle drinking, don't do it. Now, if you can handle it and you know yourself, there's always a limit to everything. And from someone could know their limit, then I see drinking as no trouble.
Just a reminder for those listeners now joining us, we have here with us Detective Adasafi Felix and Mr. Marlon Azor from the Guyana Defense Force discussing the topic alcoholism as a culture in Guyana. So, tell us, Mr. Felix, on an average for the last year, how many reported drunk driving cases would you say your department has dealt with?
Well, the section I'm in does not directly deal with drunk drivers, but to some extent we will get involved in one or two cases where the person would have lost their life as a result of that. But according to the traffic chief, in 2018, there were 87 accidents, and in 2019 that dropped to 84, with the total death moving from 100 to 94. Well, it's not a very big deduction, but it's somewhat of a deduction, so we can see that it's reducing.
Although we see a lot of persons drinking and driving, I think many persons forget the penalty or punishment for this act. Can you guys remind us about that?
The penalties are you have 3 strikes. The first one you'll be warned. The second one you'll be put before the court and pay, and pertaining to the judge's decision you'll know how much fine you will pay. And the third one you'll have a ban on your license. And depending on how serious it is, your license could be taken away for good.
So, how would you assess someone and know that they are above the limit?
There are ways to assess people as to know if they're intoxicated. For one, their behavior. Secondly, their scent. Thirdly, the way they speak. Fourthly, their actions. Now, when someone approach you, you observe certain things, and due to observations, would show that this person is intoxicated, and a test needs to be carried out.
But the two common ways using it, and we could do visual inspection or we could do a breathalyzer test. Well, the breathalyzer test is known, you just blow into the breathalyzer machine, it gives you a reading as to the percentage of alcohol within the person's breath, and you could use the printout to see what it is. And then there's visual inspection. Basically, you just speak to the person and you observe certain things. When a person is under the influence of alcohol, sometimes they're stuttered. Either they stutter when they speak, or they speak loud, or they speak slow or very fast.
What about breath tests? Are the results always accurate?
Yes, the results are always accurate, even when people try to jit the system by taking in things like toothpaste, mouthwash, and these things. It's still once it's in your system, it will be detected. It's like a lie detector test. It's collaborated for that specific purpose to detect alcohol in someone's system.
Well, as it relates to the breathalyzer machine, these machines are normally serviced on a monthly basis by the Bureau standards. Also, there are persons that use them are trained, so the results you should have, it should be 100% or at least 99.9% accurate.
What is required for a police officer to stop someone to investigate whether they are driving under the influence?
There are no specific requirements for a police officer to stop someone that is observed to be under the influence. There is no specific department. All departments can and should be able to stop persons driving on the road that are under the influence, brought to nearest police station and have a traffic rank, breathalyze them. Now, the the breathalyzer test is where a traffic rank, a specific person inside the police force, have to carry out. But any police officer can stop someone if they're under the influence and behind the
Not
wheel.
for once, if you observe them driving in a careless or dangerous manner, you could pull them over. It could be you stop the person at a normal police road back and you ask them to do a breathalyzer test, or it could be an operation being conducted by the police force where, on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even Wednesday night, there normally they sports or parties keep at a certain location, and people normally go there to drink, and when they finish, they decide, well, hey, I'm gonna drive and go home. So you can normally keep a roadblock right around the area where you know that they have to pass, and you test them for procedure under the influence.
Okay, folks, you heard it here first. Alcoholism is a delicate subject, so I do encourage you all to drink responsibly, especially when you're out having fun.
And today's podcast really ended on a great note. I would like to thank our special guest once again for taking part in this conversation.
I'm glad to assist you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for listening to We Talk Culture. Tune in tomorrow morning at 9 hours for another chat with two University of Guyana zoology and biology students who are going to shed some light on how the coronavirus infects its host.
Hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight.